What's up, leaders? It's your girl Andy. Thank you so much for coming back to my channel. It has been a while. I know I've missed you guys so much, but I'm so glad that you came back because today we're going to be talking about one of my favorite things in the entire world, books. Okay, you guys should know already at this point that I freaking love books. Okay, I love them. And one of you commented on my video that I should make on my last video that I should make a book about my favorite books for entrepreneurs and forex traders. So I have 5 today. I've chosen these 5 books because they are all unique. They are completely different books, but they help you in so many different ways. Like, this is a trifecta, 5-fecta, whatever you call that, of books. Okay, they are my top favorite books out of all the books that I've read, and they just are wonderful. So stick around and we're gonna get into it right now. Alright, so I didn't write down any notes for this video, so I'm just going to go over the books as I go through them. So hopefully y'all can bear with my ADD for 10 minutes or however long this video is. But I'm not going in any particular order. I'm just going to go by the order in which I read them. The first book that I read, the first entrepreneur book that I ever read was Rich Dad Poor Dad, and it absolutely changed my life. Okay, it is such a good book. I'm gonna say that about every book, so I'm sorry in advance, but the reason why I really love Rich Dad Poor Dad is because it gave me a really interesting perspective of how I view my everyday life and habits and my everyday goals. It's kind of like what the middle class believe versus what the richer people believe. So this book is written by Robert Kiyosaki. He is a very famous entrepreneur in the real estate world. He's done a lot of really amazing things in real estate. So this book is kind of real estate oriented, which I really like. He talks a lot about home ownership and stuff like that, and it is mind-blowing. Okay, one famous thing from this book is called the cash flow quadrant. I'm gonna put a picture up here. So basically the cash flow quadrant kind of breaks down whatever category that you are in. So are you an employee, are you self-employed, are you a business owner, or are you an investor? And he goes on to break down how everything you buy is either one of 2 things. It's either an asset, meaning that this thing that you purchase is going to grow in value and it's going to increase your dollars, or it is a liability, meaning this thing that you purchase is going to decrease in value and it's going to decrease your dollars. It's going to take your money and not give you any money back. So he really focuses on buying assets versus liabilities in this book, and he talks about how things that we typically have believed are things that we should strive to buy, like buying a house or buying a car. We have we've grown up in this society that says that those are really good things for you, when in reality they are actually liabilities, meaning they decrease your money. When you buy a house, you have to spend a lot of money on the mortgage. So obviously we need a place to live. Obviously we need a vehicle to drive in most cities. So they are good things to have. So he talks about ways that you can buy a home more smart, so that you can take it from the liability column, which it typically is for pretty much everybody, and actually put it into the asset column, meaning it will actually provide you not only a place to live but can provide you dollars as well. So it's just a really amazing book. It literally opened my mind so much to everything. I wanted to recommend it to everybody when I first read it. Because it really just breaks down the everyday things that we truly believe. Even me, somebody that was like kind of woke to this entrepreneur world where like money is out there and we're tricked to believe that like this is how we're supposed to live, we're supposed to go to college. Like, I was already woke to the self-employed business owner type of game, and this book still shook me. So I highly recommend Rich Dad Poor Dad if you haven't read it already. Now the second book on this list is How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. I love this book so much. It is so amazing. Okay, the reason why I like this book is because if you are an entrepreneur, this book will tell you how to talk to people. It will tell you how to make business connections, make business friends, how to put yourself out there. It even will teach you how to sell yourself. And it's not even really a book on selling. It's just so amazing. It really helps you connect with people in a deeper way, which is so important if you are an entrepreneur or a business person or an influencer, you know, somebody trying to make a big impact. In order to make a big impact, you're going to need people on your side, and this will just help you connect with people in a way that you probably aren't trained to do. I mean, most of us, we aren't trained to be, you know, salespeople, and we aren't trained to represent our brand. It's just something that we decide we want to do as like newer entrepreneurs. So this book will really just help you get into that mindset. It says the only book you need to lead you to success. And honestly, it's definitely, like I said, top 5 out of all of the books. And I've read quite a few books, probably over 40 of the entrepreneur type books that you hear about in the community. Yeah, I probably read over 40, and this is definitely top 5. So I would agree with that statement, Mr. Carnegie. I love the Carnegie, I don't know, I just love that name. Andrew Carnegie was a very famous entrepreneur who revolutionized the steel industry in America. I'm sure y'all all probably know about that, but then he ended up giving up all his money away and giving up everything he owned away, you know, in his later years. So he just really is a cool person. I honestly do think that they are related. I could be totally wrong, but I don't know. It's just a really amazing book. If you just look at the table of contents, which I'll try to insert a picture right here, hopefully I can find one, but it's just, you can see the names of the different like sections of the book are really powerful things. Being a people person, being a leader, being someone that just can connect with people is, in my opinion, the strongest, most powerful, most fulfilling thing that anyone could ever be. And you could be totally, you know, broke, busted, and disgusted, and if you can connect with people, it can get you places that, you know, money couldn't. Money could never buy you some of the things that connecting with other people can. And you know, your network is your net worth. So this just, I don't even know how to keep explaining it. There's really not much else to say except for just read it. It's not that big. I mean, I think I read this book in under a week. So book number 3 that we are going to be talking about is called Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert. Big Magic is by far one of my favorite, obviously it's one of my favorite books, but it is so beautiful. And I actually don't have the physical copy of this book, which I want to buy it just because it is one of my favorites. Just to like have it and look at it and hold it, I guess. But I listened to it on Audible on my phone. It was one of the first audiobooks that I ever listened to. And man, that book, it's about creative living. So the author is Elizabeth Gilbert, who actually wrote the book Eat, Pray, Love, which was that, you know, film that I actually haven't seen. I've never seen that movie, but when that movie came out, it was just very, what's the word, like popular, best-selling, blockbuster. It was just a super hit of a movie. And so she kind of, in the book, talks about like what it is to be a creative person, what it is to be an author, how hard it is to be a creative person, and some of the struggles that we all face, which were definitely things that I could relate to, which I think made the book even, you know, that much better. In the beginning, she talks about a lot of the struggles that all of us face when we decide we want to be a creative person, when we decide we want to start creating, the little obstacles that pop up. So I really like that aspect. So the book is very educational. It's not just like her talking about what happened and stuff like that. It's a very good book for anybody that's creative. So if you are an entrepreneur, 100% read the book. If you are a YouTuber, read the book. If you are an artist, like someone that does music, someone that does actual paint artist, you know, any sort of anything that you do, read the book. Even if you're not an entrepreneur and you do like a regular 9-to-5 job, I still think it's a super amazing book for anybody, because it really kind of touches on manifestation and the law of attraction on a way that I've never heard it touched on before. Like, you hear a lot of people say, like, if you want something, just, you know, write it down, put it on your vision board, think about it every day, positive affirmations, and that is all good and well. But then she goes on to break down how you actually, it's like the second step of manifestation. So at first, you know, you have to figure out what it is. You have to write it down. You kind of want to bring it into existence. But then when it comes to you, you got to know what to do with it. And that's where you need that creativity. So one of the things she talks about is how ideas come to you. And I've actually been able to channel this into my YouTube channel, and it has made me a better person. Like, but she talks about how, when an idea comes to you, you kind of got to think of ideas as these like separate entities. So they're basically like floating around. And sometimes this is kind of the fun part, and I think that's why it's called big magic. But sometimes, you know, an idea is really its own thing, and it's something that wants to be brought to life. So just as much as you are looking for this big idea for yourself, this big idea is looking for a person that can actually create it. And it kind of almost goes along with that saying that the only hands God has to work with are your hands. Okay, God doesn't physically have hands down here. So it's kind of like this idea doesn't physically have a body to manifest itself. It's looking for people that are calling it. And so she talks about how to actually like pull ideas basically out of the air, and what it sounds like when an idea is kind of knocking at your door. It's just so good. Like, you have to read it. You have to read it. It's helped me to actually like discover ideas a lot more in my life, which has, you know, helped me with everything else. She also mentions this one fear that I do want to share with you guys as well, which is when you are successful as a creative, a lot of times that actually hinders people's success too. Like, she had, you know, the best-selling movie, book, Eat, Pray, Love. And after that, it's like people kind of expect the most out of you now, because now you're this critically acclaimed author, whatever. And she was just a girl that wrote a book, you know what I mean? So she talks about how a lot of times some people drown in, you know, a success, or they feel like they can't live up to something that they've already done. And I think that was really inspiring to hear as well, because in order to pursue creativity at its purest form, we have to be okay with failure and things not doing so good, and things only reaching a small amount of people in the way that you want it to reach. And you know, some ideas will be great and grand, but that doesn't define who you are. And your creativity is ever flowing, and it has no bounds, and you can try new things. So good. So the fourth book on my list is called The 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss. I love that book. Love that book. It is a very it's a very like practical guide type of book, and that's what I really love about it. A lot of these books, all of these books have a good amount of motivation, but the 4-Hour Workweek is one of the most practical, applicable books on the list, I would say. So Tim Ferriss, the author, is this amazing person that literally at the beginning of the book, he talks about how he says, "Hi, I'm Tim Ferriss. I'm a pro wrestler. I won a fighting skiing match in Japan. I, you know, am a critically acclaimed author. I've been on, you know, 10 different TV shows for 10 different things." Like, he's just this dude that has a million things under his belt. None two are the like, okay? He's a very interesting person, and he makes that very clear from the beginning that he is not an author. He is not a, you know, e-commerce expert, which he was one of the first people to really pop off on e-commerce. So that's really cool to read that book from him. He's not, any of these things that he's done is not what he is. He is just Tim Ferriss, okay? And he likes a bunch of different things. He doesn't fit into one niche. And he talks about how he's able to do that by structuring his life in a way to where he only has to work 4 hours a week. He makes more money than most people, and you know, you can do it too if you're smart. This book focuses a lot on automation, which is really cool. As someone that is an entrepreneur, I do a lot of stuff online. I've never really thought about outsourcing work or automating things and stuff like that. And he really talks about like how easily it is for you to outsource work, and how it can amplify the amount of stuff that you get done in the amount of time that you get it done in, and therefore, you know, you can make more profits faster. You can just progress at a much faster rate when you can hire a team. And for a regular person, you don't think you can hire a team, but you really can. And so he gives a ton of resources. I read the expanded version, so literally there's just like a whole chapter of just resources where you can go to get every sort of type of automation. I need to order it soon just so I can have those lists, but you can always pull them up online as well. He has a blog, the 4-Hour Workweek blog or something like that. I'll leave it linked in the description. In the book, he talks about how he's been able to travel the world and live in, you know, many different countries. He speaks multiple languages. He learns languages really quickly because, you know, everything that he does to make money is pretty much automated at this point. So all he has to do is enjoy his life. It's really cool. And he also talks about how to get the most out of your money, which again is a very practical thing to think about. This book actually changed my opinion on money. Prior to reading this book, I had a very money hungry attitude. Like, I want wealth, I want nice things, I want to make this amount of money every single month, and I want to live this kind of life and drive this kind of car. Like I had a very you know, like wealthy entrepreneur type goals, that sort of attitude. And this book really helped me to completely like do a 180 about what I actually need money for and what money's actual use is. So if you're somebody that struggles with, like, you know, just being very money hungry and really not achieving the things that you want because you don't have enough money, this book will 100% show you how you can do everything you want and more with less money. And sometimes the more money you have, a lot of times the more money you have, actually the more drained you are as a person and the less you're actually able to do. He gives us one example of this man that lives his life on the coast who goes fishing once a day for an hour on his little boat. He just goes out into the ocean. He gets enough fish to feed his family. He, you know, comes in, ties his boat up, goes home, washes off, cooks some nice food, goes to town, hangs out with his friends for the rest of the night, and then comes home and spends time with his family and, you know, goes to bed with his wife. So it's just this nice man. You know, he's not making a lot of money at all. He's barely making any money at all. He's really just making enough money to live and, you know, to provide for his family. And then this kid, fresh off of Wall Street up in New York, you know, straight out of Harvard Business School, he goes to this town on vacation and he sees this man and he goes fishing with this man and he says, wow, there's so much fish out here. And you are able to catch so much. If you would spend, you know, 4 hours instead of 1 hour, you can make enough money to sell to the villagers in your village or whatever. And if you kept doing that at the rate of, you know, whatever, in 10 years you would have enough money to buy multiple boats, and then you could just keep expanding, and then in 25 years you'll be a millionaire, you'll have the top fishing company on Wall Street, like blah 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 blah. And then the guy was like, okay, that sounds great, like I would love to do that. What will I do when I become a millionaire? And then the kid goes, well, you could do whatever you want. You could retire, you could just go out on your boat once a day, maybe for an hour, 30 minutes, come back home, take a shower, rest, spend time with your family, go to town for a little, you know, fiesta time, have a nice drink with your buddies, and then just, you know, come home, relax, go to sleep next to your wife and live the good life. So it's really funny. That example just is one of my favorite examples. I think it's probably written out somewhere because it is kind of like a famous story. But yeah, it's like you don't need millions of dollars to live your best life. You just need to go and find your best life and start living it. So he breaks down how a lot of people get in this mindset of they need so much money to live whatever life that they want to live, that they end up, you know, working for 20 years, 30 years, finally being able to get to the point where they can do the simple thing that they really wanted to do in the first place. A lot of us, I think, want wealth for the wrong reasons. You know, we see stuff on social media, we want to flex, we want to feel accomplished and feel like an important person, and that's fine, like that's all good, but we really need to ask ourselves, what is it that we truly want, and do we really need to be a millionaire to have this beautiful, rich, full life that we dream of? It's just a really cool book. And so I really credit it a lot to changing my mindset about money, and that has made my life a lot better already. Like, I'm so glad that that book came into my life, because it's helped me take on more, and it's helped me kind of just live a brighter, more fulfilled purpose. And, you know, I'm not just looking for the fine, you know, expensive bags, expensive cars, this, that. So yeah, I really suggest that book. That was a mouthful of an explanation, but it's a good book. That book is a little fatter, so it needed a fatter explanation. But the last book, the fifth and final book on my list, is The Magic of Thinking Big. Okay, not to be confused with Big Magic, which we just talked about. This is called The Magic of Thinking Big. This book is fantastic. It's a book about perspective, and I'm somebody that has always been kind of more towards the optimistic side, and this book still, like, was so refreshing to read. It's just amazing. It has quotes in here that I think of literally every single day. The author is David J. Schwartz, PhD. Okay, so you know if a book is written by a PhD, they probably got some good stuff to say. But it says, acquire the secrets of success, achieve everything you've always wanted, personal property, financial security, power and influence, the ideal job, satisfying relationships, and a rewarding and enjoyable life. And I agree, like, that's basically, to sum up this book, that's exactly what it's about. Now, this book is definitely the most motivational, if you will, out of the other 4 books that I've mentioned, But that's good. I mean, the reason why I created this list is because each book brings something so unique and so powerful to this, you know, collection of 5. They're all about different things, but they are all really strong points and they can all really coincide together. So we do need some big thinking in order to achieve some of the things that the other things that we've read about. Like, in order to be an automated entrepreneur like Tim Ferriss, you got to have the mindset. You got to have a big belief in order to achieve that. If you want to be as successful as Robert Kiyosaki, you got to have the belief in yourself. This book will also help you believe in yourself while you're making friends. So, I mean, it's a really fantastic book. One of my favorite quotes in the book is, this isn't word for word, but it says something like, a lot of people look at themselves when they're 30 and they think, oh, I'm too old to start something new. I'm too old to go to college. I'm too old to chase my dream because I'm already 30, you know. I wasted my 20s. I can't do anything because I'm 30. And what you fail to realize is the average person works until they're 70. So if you're only 30, that means you still have 40 years left to achieve whatever goal it is that you're trying to achieve. You still have 40 years to finish school. You still have 40 working years left to accomplish this thing. So you were able to work when you were like 20. So far you're gonna give up the next 40 years of your life because you didn't do much in the first 10. Like, that makes absolutely no sense, but that's how a lot of people think, because that's just what we're, you know, predestined to think. You know, that's what we've been programmed to believe. So I really love that quote. Like, that quote is in one of the beginning chapters of the book, and at that point I was like, oh yeah, this is the book for me. Okay, that is bars right there. Even me, I think that all the time. I just turned 24 and I'm like, oh my gosh, like, I'm running out of time. Like, I'm getting so old. I haven't accomplished my dreams. I haven't, you know, hit that 6-figure mark yet, and I'm 24. I don't own a home yet and I'm 24. Like, it literally gets to the point sometimes where I'm like, wow, I'm probably just gonna have to throw myself away because I'm 24 and I don't have all these things and I'm behind schedule, but I have 45 years left of my life to accomplish these things. So I just 100% love that book. It also kind of talks about how, like, you might be intimidated by somebody, but every person that you're intimidated of is intimidated of somebody else. Okay, we're all just people. It really puts everybody on like an equal playing field. He talks, another example that he gives in the story is, there's one guy that thinks he might have something wrong with him, so he's very cautious and he doesn't want to, you know, fly on planes, and he doesn't want to do this because he's afraid that his heart's going to give out, and you know, he's determined that there's something wrong with them. And you know, health issues are scary. I'm somebody that was a huge hypochondriac for like 2 years of my life. I had such bad anxiety about my health for reasons I don't even know why. So that's why I really liked this example. But he says, then there's another guy who is about to jump out of a plane because he knows that he has something wrong with him, and he is just blessed to have woken up another day and to be healthy, you know, for that day and still have this life inside of him. So he wants to take it by the horns. So there's somebody that, you know, thinks they might have something wrong, or they have something minor wrong with them, and they're letting it diminish their whole life because they're afraid. Whereas there's somebody that, you know, knows they have something wrong with them, but they're so blessed to be alive that they are taking life by the hands, you know, and they just, it's just, isn't that just such a good example? I mean, I'm over explaining it, but that's some good stuff. So this book is just, it has perspective in here that is just so fresh, and I think, you know, it's definitely 100% worth the read. And if you would have watched my last video I did about books called How to Read a Book a Week or something like that, I actually did a giveaway because, as you can see, I have 2 copies of this amazing book. So I'm going to announce the giveaway winner right now. My grandma actually gave me both of these copies. My grandma is the goat. She gave me these and Rich Dad Poor Dad and like 6 other books that I have that I haven't even been able to read yet, because she just is always bringing me like amazing books. I love her so much. So from my grandma to you, the giveaway winner is Amancio Rosa. I hope I'm saying that right. Amancio Rosa. Anyways, Amancio, I know who you are. We are friends on Instagram. You have reached out to me, so that's really awesome. I'm happy to be gifting you this book. Thank you for entering my giveaway. You know, there was not a lot of entries to choose from, so y'all really were not messing with my giveaway. Y'all did not want this book, but it is an amazing book, and it's a gift. I feel like anytime someone gives me a book, it is like, I feel like it's like God handing me something special, you know? It's like the universe sending me something to read. I think it's just really cool. So I'm super excited to gift this to you. Now in the giveaway, I asked you to send an email to my email naming your 3 favorite books, and so his 3 favorite books are Emotionally Healthy Spirituality by Peter Scazzaro. His second book, Developing the Leader Within You 2.0 by John C. Maxwell, which I am a fan of John C. Maxwell. I read half of a John C. Maxwell book and then I got bored and I started listening to a different book. But it was good from what I read. And then True Love Dates by Deborah K. Folletta, which those all sound very intriguing. I definitely like the True Love Dates one. I don't know what that is, but I've read a book about love before, the 5 Love Languages, and that was my first time reading a book like that. And I liked it a lot. And so I'm kind of in this point where I'm like branching out into different types of books now. At first I was just trying to read all the entrepreneur books and, you know, all the books I see on Instagram. But yeah, at this point I'm really starting to, my relationship with books is just growing deeper and deeper, you guys. I love them so much. You have no idea. I'm almost like addicted to reading books at this point, because it's like, especially now, like during quarantine and just in general, I really don't have that many friends. So like listening to a book, reading a book, it's like being able to go to somebody to learn this information that you can't get anywhere else. Like my parents can't tell me how to, you know, be a rich dad. My parents can't tell me how to do get creative ideas and you know, how to win friends and influence people. Like this is some quality information, okay, from experts in the field. And my parents are amazing people. There's a lot of amazing things that they did teach me about being a person, but they can't teach me everything, you know, like nobody can. So it's just, books, they're just so nice. Like these authors are my friends at this point and I love them so much. Like Robert Kiyosaki, I always kind of stalk him frequently, just because he was my first. So it's just a special place in my heart. I don't know, I just love my books. But yeah, I don't know if I was saying something, but it's, that idea is gone now. So thank you guys so much for watching. Amancio, I'm going to send you your book ASAP. I'm going to put it in the mail tomorrow so that you can have it. Thank you so much for entering my giveaway. I'd love for you guys to hit the like button if you have not already, and please subscribe, tap that bell notification. Oh, I've never said that before. I feel like a YouTuber. But tap the bell so that you can watch my videos as they come out and enter in my next giveaway and win, because I have a small channel. Your chances of winning are extremely high. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you like the new room. I'm sorry that I went missing for 2 weeks. 1 week was my birthday, so I wanted to take some time off. The second week was my Wi-Fi wasn't working, and then, you know, like this past week I knew I was going to paint my room, so I didn't even want to film another video in that blue room, because the blue and gray, they just depress me. Those colors, they depress me. So I'm super excited to be back now. I wasn't taking a hiatus. I technically did, but it was, I'm not going anywhere. So y'all definitely please subscribe, hit that bell notification. I'm gonna stop talking now. Thank you so much for listening to me. I'll see you next time.